Hi guys, I know it's been a long time since I recorded a video, so I thought I would do that. This is actually my laptop and not my phone. Normally I record with my phone because it has a better camera, I think, but I thought I'd try it with my laptop. So I'm gonna give you some updates. It's been a long time since I did any updates, and obviously you see I'm in a different room than I was the last time. Seems like I'm always somewhere else every time I'm recording. I had moved in with my boyfriend at the time, during the last year of videos that I was taking, and it didn't work out. So I'm actually living somewhere else now, and then I plan to move again here in the next few months. But right now, as you can see behind me, the snakes are kind of just piled up. But I thought I would still go through some of the breeding projects that I have, and let you know what's going on. So I've already got eggs this year, and the first set of eggs that I got were between two ultra males. The male is somewhat of an okeetee ultra male, and he's het caramel and motley. That was proven last year, and he's possibly het for anery. And then the female ultra male, which is also somewhat okeetee looking, she is het for anery and possibly het for stripe. So I figured they'd be really nice to go together. I'm doing a lot of like ultra projects and stuff. Sorry that my camera's like really wobbly. There's really nothing I can do about it. It just wobbles. Okay, sorry anyway. The next set of for sure breedings that I have, I got a Sunglow female this year from a friend of mine, and I bred her to a Sunglow male. She's actually a Sunglow motley, and he's a Sunglow het stripe. And let's see, he's also a het for, I was told, he was also a het for anery and hypo and diffused maybe, and maybe something else. He's a poppycorn line. And he's kind of a mask too. He's got a weird looking mask on his head, so I'm pretty sure he's a mask as well. He's just a weird looking corn. But poppycorns, you know, them being selectively bred, they're gonna look a little different. So there's a confirmed breeding with them, and I'm pretty sure she's gravid. The other one is one that I'm really excited about. I have an ultramel motley female, and she's het for anery, caramel. Let's see, she's ultramel motley, het for anery. I think that's it. Het for anery, caramel. And I bred her to my Halo Snow that's het for caramel motley. So a lot of variety there. There's like 16 different possibilities with that. So it'd be really nice if she gave me 16 eggs and I got like one of each. That'd be really cool. I don't think she's gonna give me that much though. She's a first-time breeder, so odds are she's not gonna give me that many eggs. I also have another pretty cool breeding with a different Halo Snow male. He's not het for caramel that I know of. But I got him from Dave Partington, as well as the Poppycorn line, Sunglow, that I mentioned. Dave Partington sent this Halo to me, and he was really nice looking. And I bred him to another Snow female, a Snow that's het motley. And this female Snow actually produced Halos in 2014. So I figured if she could produce Halos with one male, maybe she could produce Halos with another. In 2014, I bred her to my Gold Dust Motley, and I still have, I think I only have one snake left from that breeding, which was a Halo Snow Motley female. So I'm really hoping to get some Halos from her this year. Last year I bred her to my Amel male het for anery. That's the father of my other Halo, the one that's het caramel motley, in hopes that the two of them breeding together would produce Halos. That meaning it would probably be a recessive gene. And even though I didn't have very many babies, you know, to look at, I think there was only, let's see, there was 8 eggs, and I think only 6 babies hatched. And I couldn't even, there was only like maybe 4 snows or something like that. You can't really tell from those necessarily, but none of them ended up being Halo. Absolutely none of them. And I would have thought that at least one of them would be. Maybe if she does well this year and all that, I may try to breed her to that same male again next year, but I wanted to breed her to the halo male this year to see if she'd give me some halos. Let's see. Oh, I also have I have a coral snow female, and she's possibly het diffused, and then possibly het or showing the gene hypo. That's kind of iffy, because we now know that coral is not caused by hypo or strawberry. We know that the coral gene is actually caused by red factor, which she shows very well, but we're not really sure at this point if she's actually got hypo in her or not, which is fine. I don't really care. But it would, it would obviously be nice, but I don't really care. I bred her. I put her to 3 different males. Normally, I only put a female to like 1 male, so I know who the dad is. But these were 3 very different males, and the first 2 were first years, and I wasn't sure if they would breed, and if they would breed, if they'd be fertile, and all that stuff. So the first one that I traded her with was an Anery tessera, a coral Anery tessera, who came from the original salmon male. I think his great-grandfather maybe was the original salmon male, and he's possibly het for hypo and possibly het for either amel or ultra. So it would be really nice if he was het for something. I mean, I could go for some like coral ultramel aneries or something like that. That'd be really cool. Tessera, add tessera to that. That'd be really nice. But in case he didn't get her, I put her in with a very, very nice coral ghost male. And I really wanted to get babies out of that coral ghost. But I'm not sure if I will. I actually, I just reduced the collection quite a lot. As you can see, I have that over there, that little stack. This stack here is some yearlings and some, no, I want to say subadults, but they're not really subadults. These here are some younger males. The taller stack in the back, those are all adults. And then you can see down there, there's a little rack. That's got some other yearlings and subadults in it too. And then over there is another pile, another big pile like this pile of adults and some subadults. I also have a hatchling rack. You can't see it, but it's over there, but it's empty. And obviously you can see my incubator over there with the cords coming out of it. That's got a thermostat coming out of it, as well as a the actual heat mat cord. And that's got 1 clutch of eggs in it. I heated up that huge like incubator. I mean, you can't hardly tell how big it is, but it's big. It's like 2.5 feet tall by like 2 feet wide, or like 3 feet long or something. So I mean, it's pretty big, but obviously it's not that big on the inside because it's really thick styrofoam, and it's about that thick, which you probably can't really tell because this is a 2-dimensional image that you're looking at, but it's like 2 inches thick or something, 1.5 inches maybe thick. So the inside isn't quite as big, I guess is what I'm saying. Regardless, it's been a good incubator. I've had no problems with it. I like it a lot. Even though I made it, it's been really good. Anyway, so other breedings that I've got going on. Let's see. I have a list over here. That's why I keep looking over here. Yeah, so I mentioned the female that may or may not have bred to the female that produced halos in 2014 that I already mentioned. I put her in with the halo male, and I never witnessed them breed. The other ones that I mentioned so far, I either witnessed a breeding or like leftovers of a breeding or something, or like it's very obvious that the females are pregnant right now. But this pair is one of those that, like, I put them together and I think that they might have bred because the male was chasing her around a little bit. But then the male became really sluggish, and then he started eating again, which normally the males don't eat while they're breeding. I mean, sometimes they do. I got some males that I know are breeding and they're eating. But I don't know. He didn't act like a breeding male. And he was also one that was sold to me as a female. I say sold. Dave Partington kind of gave me the snakes I gave him it was more of a gift, I guess you could say. So I can't complain. But I'm not 100% positive that that the two of them bred. I'm fairly confident that he was actually a he, but I don't even know that. So anyway, one of the most exciting breedings of the year that I hope happened was a sulfur het for lavender. So that a sulfur being a diffused caramel amel. So yeah, diffused butter, sulfur het for lavender. I bought him because he showed both amel and caramel, and he was het for lavender because I really needed that. I bred him to at least I hope, I bred him to a lavender charcoal that is proven het for diffused amel, stripe, possibly caramel, possibly anery. She actually came from Rich Hume's peach line, I think, or she bred with one of the males and they produced peach somethings. No, she's kind of a mystery female. That's even what Rich Hume described her as a mystery female. But somewhat proven to be, definitely proven to be a lavender, most likely proven to be charcoal. Definitely at least carries amel, stripe, diffused, anery, possibly caramel. But I'm hoping that she definitely had the caramel in her. If not, that's okay, because I'm still going to hold back some babies from her regardless. It's a lot of nice genes in her. So that'll be I'm really hoping that breeding happened. The male actually passed away, and I think he was a 2008, so I didn't think that there was anything wrong with him. He seemed fine, he was eating, he was kind of an irritable snake, but he wasn't like, you know, I mean, some snakes get mean right before they die. I don't know if it's just because they're in pain or like what's going on, but he wasn't like that. He was just one of those that he didn't really like being held or anything like that. He survived brumation just fine. I think he may have damaged a hemipene during breeding, and then maybe it got infected and I didn't notice it or something. I mean, I usually check my males over really well, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think that's probably what happened, though, because it was only like a week or two after breeding, or supposed breeding. I also had him in with a different female that I'm hoping that he bred with, but I don't know if he did. It was kind of at the very end there, like maybe a week before he passed or less, that I had him in with a caramel motley female. And the reason I wanted to breed them was because I wanted to get at least all caramel babies, but I also wanted to prove and see if she was het for everything that the seller said that she was. So I bought her as a caramel motley, het for lavender and ultra. And last year I bred her to a lavender striped motley, het for amel, thinking, well, this is going to at least tell me everything. But then I ended up getting these weird, like, hypo-looking babies, and then eventually found out that the male that I bred her to was also het hypo. From a different breeding, I found out that he was het hypo. So he's het for hypo and amel, which is great, except now I had all these babies and I don't know what they were. Because of the lavender lines, unfortunately, most of the babies were kinked, and I gave them away to a school. So I don't know, I'll never know what they really were. But I was breeding her to him because he's proven to not have any hypo in him. The sulfur was. And I thought, well, this will tell me for sure if she's het for ultra, and he's het lavender, so if she happens to be het lavender and some of the weird looking babies from last year just didn't look lavender-ish and they actually were, whatever, then I'll know. But of course he passed away, and I don't know if they bred or not. They may have. So I'm gonna wait. I'm waiting for results on that, waiting to see if she looks like she becomes gravid. If not, then I'm probably going to breed her to the Halo Snow Het Caramel Motley, just because I know that he doesn't have any hypo in him, and I'll find out if there's any ultra or amel or whatever. I won't figure out the lavender, but from last year's breeding, I didn't see any that looked like lavender, so I'm assuming there aren't any. I'm assuming that she's not het lavender. We'll see. That's a lot. It's a lot of words. I'm sorry. I'm long-winded. Okay, so another breeding that I did that's not the most exciting, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. I have a male het anery that always gives me reverse okeetees, and they're really nice looking reverse okeetees too. And he's also the father of my halo boy that's the halo snow that's het caramel motley that I've mentioned a few times. I bought a I can't remember what they're called, an ultra male anery. I bought an ultra male anery for him, an adult breeder. I had an ultra male anery, a 2013 female that I was going to breed to him this year, but she just was not growing very fast. I'm not really sure what the deal was. Her brother is actually the Tessera anery that I mentioned pretty early on that I was going to breed to the coral snow, and he's not very big either. So I think that maybe it's just in the genetics of that, of like them, of that clutch or whatever, or like, you know, their parents or whatnot. I think that maybe they just don't grow very fast. Some are like that. Some just don't grow very fast, and some of them just don't grow very big either. And that's fine, except Bo is huge. My big male is huge, and so I wanted to get a decent sized female for him. I didn't want to hurt or whatever any smaller females with him, so I went ahead and bought a bigger breeder for him, who is also het motley and sun-kissed. I don't really care about the sun-kissed, but the motley kind of makes me want to breed her to something else eventually, and then maybe even get Bo a different female later. We'll see. But yeah, I think that breeding happened. I've had them in together off and on. I've seen him chasing her some. We'll see. It's not definite yet, but I'm going to keep trying with them. Maybe after she sheds one more time. She's eating like extra large mice now. When I first got her, she was eating like medium, well, probably like small mice or like rat fuzzies. Now she's eating like extra large mice. No problem. So I think that she's up to size for him for sure. Let's see, another breeding that I've got going on is a female vanishing stripe anery. Supposed like possible ghost. She's kind of dark for a ghost, but at the same time her black isn't really black. So it could just be she's a dark ghost, or she could be a light anery. Not really sure, but she's a vanishing stripe. And I'm breeding her to my, she's actually from coral lines, from red factor lines. And I'm breeding her to my red factor that's het anery, should be het stripe. And I say should be because in 2012 I put him in with an anery motley female, and also put that anery motley female in with a ghost stripe and with a motley, I think, or something motley. It might have been it was another male that definitely had the motley gene though. I can't remember, but I'm trying to remember what snakes I had at that time. 2012 was a long time ago for me. Regardless, I had this motley, and I put her in with all three of them. And I thought to myself, if she lays any eggs, or like has any babies that that are normals, then she bred with my red factor / normal, and you know, then I'll know who the dad was. Once again, I bred her to completely different males, so I would know who the dad was for sure. Because like with the other one, I knew that if she, you know, had all like aneries and stripes or motleys or whatever, then no, maybe that's what I did. I think I bred her to that ghost stripe male, and then I also bred her to an anery male, and then I bred her to this normal that's het for anery. I put her in with all three of them, and I guess I was thinking I would know who Daddy was by what the babies were going to be. And I thought, you know, if I get any normals, the normal was the dad. If I don't get any aneries at all, then I'll know that, or yeah, if I don't know, there's some logic, but like if all of them were aneries but none of them were stripes, then I would know that probably the anery was the dad, and then if all of them were anery, stripes, or motleys, then I would know that the anery, you know, the ghost stripe was the dad. Regardless, this is a long tangent, I'm sorry. But so long story short, she had some normal offspring, and some that weren't aneries, some that weren't striped, and all this stuff, but she did have some that were striped. So that told me that the Normal was the father, and that he was het anery stripe. I already knew he was het anery because I'd bred him to a snow the year before. So I thought, oh, well, good, he's het stripe. Well, last year I bred him to a ghost female that was supposed to be het stripe, hypo, diffused, blah, blah, blah. Another one from Dave Bredington. And found out that she either she was probably not het stripe because I didn't see any stripe babies at all, or he's not het stripe and the female, maybe like the female from a couple of years ago from 2012, actually took sperm from multiple males and fertilized with multiple males, which they don't normally do, but they can. The corn snakes don't anyway. I from my experience, they don't. But so this year I'm breeding him with this anery stripe to see if he really is het stripe. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that he is, crossing fingers, because then I'll just keep her for him and they'll just be a pair, and that'd be really cool. And one more breeding that's kind of like questionable that may have happened, may not have, is between my extreme reverse okeetee female and the mentioned kind of okeetee-ish ultramel male. I really wanted to get extreme ultramel okeetees. And I tried this breeding last year, but the female, she didn't lay her eggs. She just never laid. And then I found out that she was egg bound, and then finally she kind of moved them out, but she just never laid them. And normally, if a snake is egg bound, the eggs are not fertile, and I think that was probably the case with her. That was his first breeding year last year as well, and that was the first female I ever tried him with. So I think probably they weren't fertile. That's probably what happened, but I don't know. So this year I attempted the breeding again. Can't tell if she's gravid quite yet. If she is, I hope she actually lays her eggs this time. That would really suck if she didn't. Okay, and then I have a few breedings. Let's see, another confirmed breeding that's of a different species. My house snakes, my African house snakes, are actually South African house snakes. They're not the normal, they're not the kind that you see that have all the morphs and all that. It's a different subspecies. But they're still beautiful. And the male, even though he's an adult, has still kept his speckling, which is really uncommon, and he's really light colored. So I'm hoping to get more babies like him that are super light colored. The female is the average looking, but I plan on keeping any of the really light colored babies. Maybe. I might sell a couple of them. We'll see how many I get. I don't know. I haven't been able to count the eggs in her yet, but because they're so strong, they have so much muscle, and they're so like private animals. They do not want you in their business. So we'll see how that goes, but I know that she's gravid because she's kind of stopped eating. She's normally one to eat like all the time, and she has stopped eating completely. She just shed. She's been like nesting, so I'm pretty sure that she's getting ready to lay eggs. Another one that I can actually count eggs in the coral snow female that I mentioned earlier. She doesn't. Once again, she's kind of a private animal. She doesn't really like you to be in her business. Most of the pregnant females are that way, but some more than others. Some are just like, yeah, hey, whatever, count the eggs, okay. And then some of them are like, don't even touch me. And she's kind of like that, please don't touch me. Like, but I think I counted like 9 or 10 in her the other day, and I wasn't able to even count them all because she's moving so fast. But I think there's at least 9. So that'll be good. That'll be nice. They're tiny though. I can tell that they're just like itty bitty eggs. With my ultramel female that already laid, I counted 12 in her. She had 13, but I could tell that they were, a decent size and a decent shape. You can kind of feel them. And in the coral snow, they're like perfectly tiny and round, like little tiny, like little pearls. So I don't know. Those babies might be tiny. We'll see. A couple other species that I'm working on trying to get babies out of. Spotted pythons. I have 2 females. I have had the male in with 1 here recently. But the other female, I have the male in before winter. And she's kind of been like not one to eat that much lately. And so I'm thinking that she's going to lay eggs pretty soon. The other female that I actually just put the male back in with, she laid eggs last year, but they were all infertile, and I wasn't expecting them to lay eggs because I didn't think that they locked up, but apparently they tried or something. I don't know. But I also didn't keep them warm enough. A friend of mine made me some snake racks, one of which is heated, so I plan on putting the pythons in that snake rack. That way I can keep them warm enough. It's just too hot for the corn snakes, like 88, 89, 90 degrees. That's too hot for the corn snakes. So I finally have a snake rack that I can put the pythons in to keep them warm, especially for the females that are getting ready to lay. And I actually plan on letting the female pythons incubate their own eggs. You know, the spotteds tend to, the females will stay with their eggs and wrap around them and keep them a decent temperature. Even though it takes longer, first of all, that's less work for me. One less incubator I have to set up. And I know that they're staying at a decent temperature then. You know, like, for the most part. The other species I'm working with this year is prairie king snakes. I have a pair of what is apparently called a caramel albino. I knew they were albinos, but I was like, they look more like T negatives or T positives than T negatives. But I didn't really know much about the morphs. I just kept looking at pictures of the albinos, and I'm like, this just doesn't look like it, you know? The albinos I was seeing were like red saddles, and then it's like some of a peachy yellow ground color. And I'm like, mine just aren't that. Mine have the peachy ground color, but they also have like peachy saddles too, like orangey golden saddles. And I'm like, they're just not the same. They just didn't look the same. And the red pupil, the albinos I was seeing online had red pupils, and these don't. These have black pupils. And I'm like, I don't really. And then come to find out they're probably caramel albinos, which is a T positive albino, which is fine. I don't really care. I like them. I got them from a friend. I just brought them out of brumation like less than a week ago, so it'll be a couple weeks before I try to start putting them together. But it'll be cool to get some new species this year. Some breedings that I am planning but have not actually attempted yet. I have a pair of Bartley's Ghost corns. Bartley's Ghosts are, they're ghosts, but they're selectively bred, and I believe that they are, I have not confirmed this with Bartley reptiles by any means, because, you know, I don't want them to think like their secret's out or something. But I think it kind of is. I believe that they came from a Miami, like, bred with an okeetee, like, or like thick-banded Miami, and then with the ghost genes bred into them. That's what I think, because they have really silver ground color, really thick dark banding, and then really colorful saddles. And so I'm thinking they're probably from like Miami, and then like just thick banded Miami. I say thick banded Miami, but I really want to say Miami okeetee, which are like two completely different things, but you know what I mean when I say that. I mean, they have the Miami coloring with the thick okeetee banding look, plus the genes of ghost. But they're really nice. I really like them. I actually have a trio. I have a male and a female adults, and then I have a female yearling from last year. But of course the yearling won't breed for another couple of years anyway. I have two breedings that will go to it's a hypo lavender striped motley, het for Dannery and Amel. And I plan to put him with an upper keys female that's het for Motley, Ultra, Annery, and Lavender. That should be an interesting breeding. Nice like moonstones and ultramel moonstones, weird stuff in that. And I also plan to put him with a lavender striped motley, het Amel, and hypo, which is the counterpart to the one that I mentioned before that bred to the caramel motley. I think they were siblings maybe. But yeah. So those will be some nice breedings. I'm really hoping for those breedings to go well, except the females are like not wanting to eat or gain weight or whatever. I'm finally getting Like, they're both finally gaining weight, but they've been out of brumation for like a month and they haven't gained any weight, even though I've been trying to feed them. The upper keys just doesn't want to eat, and the Lavender eats like once in a while, and so I'm like, I need you two to gain weight, but hopefully I can get some late clutches in the year with both of them. The very last thing I want to touch on is the last breeding that I have. It's not that exciting, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. Gold Dust Motley to Gold Dust Motley. I have a female Gold Dust Motley who's, I believe, from like a Sunglow type line. She doesn't have any bands or like any saddle bands, even though she's a Motley. Like a lot of Motleys, you can still see the saddle banding. Can't see it in her at all. Not even, you know. I mean, she's like, she almost looks like she's all one color. You can just barely see her pattern. So I'm gonna breed her with my other Gold Dust Motley, who's het anery, and that will finally solve the mystery as to whether or not she's het anery. If she is, I'll get some really nice xanthics and stuff like that out of them. Some xanthic Motleys and caramel ultra aneries. There's no good way to say that. Caramel ultra aneries, gold dust. I guess caramel ultra is gold dust, so anery gold dust, and then ultra caramel aneries. That'd be really cool. Motley plus Motley, whatever. So yeah, that's really what's going on with my breedings this year. I don't think that there's any more to touch on. I've sold a lot of my collection, so yeah, what I mentioned, I think there's like 16 breedings or so on that list, and I don't plan to have any more this year. Maybe I may not even have that many. I mean, as I mentioned, my upper keys and my Lavender striped Motley females are not really wanting to get up to weight. The Bartley's female is having the same problem. She just doesn't really want to eat. And I think that it's still cold here, and I think that they know it's still winter. So it could be that they just haven't gotten out of the brumation mindset yet. But a lot of females are doing really good too, you know. So we'll see. I know that I have 1 clutch of eggs in the incubator already. And then I'll have at least another 3 or 4 more probably in the next month or month and a half incubating, so that'll be nice. About the time that the ones that I have in the incubator are hatching, I'll have other eggs being laid. And I really like to time it like that. It makes things a lot easier for me if I have like a couple of clutches hatching, and then I can clean out the incubator, and then I have a couple of clutches being laid, put them in the incubator, and then like every time some of them, you know, every time one of them lays eggs or a couple of them lay eggs, then breed a couple more, and then the cycle goes on till the end of the year. But that also can mess the females up too, or mess up my schedule, because some of the ones that bred early in the year will double clutch, and then I gotta deal with that, which I'm not complaining. I don't like to double clutch my females. But anyway, once again, not complaining. I'm excited about my life right now. Like I said, right now I'm actually sitting in my parents' house, and I hate to say that as a 24, almost 25-year-old, but it was really ugly with my ex, and I mean really ugly. It got bad there, and I had to get out. Actually, the police told me that I should probably leave for my own safety. So I'm here now, and I'm actually still in college. The end of the semester is in like 2 months or so, 2.5, 3 months, something like that. And that's when I plan to move out. So by the time that I'll have more eggs hatching or being laid or whatever, that's when I'll be moving out, and that'll be great. That'll be perfect timing. I hate to like move when I have eggs getting ready to hatch. It's the worst. Well, anyway, this has been over 30 minutes long, and I apologize. It's just been me rambling into a camera. If you want to see everything that I have for sale or get updates, go to facebook.com/Sarah's Snake Shop. No apostrophe, but there's periods between the words. Sarah's Snake Shop, or you can probably just go into like a little Facebook search thing, type Sarah's Snake Shop, and it'll come up. Yeah, obviously if you're watching this, you already follow me on YouTube. I also have a Twitter that I'm never on, but it's SCMartin27. I also have an Instagram that I'm on occasionally, and that's Joy Princess Sarah, all one word. It used to be Sarah's Snake Shop, but it's not anymore. I just decided to change it because I felt like it. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.